In the last video, we talked about why so many women in midlife are turning to GLP-1 medications and why this conversation needs more nuance. Because while these medications can absolutely help with appetite and cravings and even weight loss for sure, I'm also seeing women undereating, losing muscle, exhausted, losing their motivation in not just eating, but other areas of life. They're struggling with digestion and they're unsure how to support their body long term. And this is really what we're in this health thing for, right? Is how can we maintain long-term health versus just surviving in a very skinny body, right? I don't know about you, but it's not just about weight loss. It is about living a long, healthy, vibrant, active life. And so honestly, nutrition is where I'm seeing some of the biggest mistakes happen. So today I want to walk you through and talk to you about how to nourish your body. If you are considering taking a GLP-1, or maybe you're currently taking one, or you're thinking about eventually wanting to come off of a GLP-1, because this has to become more than just weight loss. Let me start by saying this clearly. These medications can absolutely help women. I've seen women experience less food noise, improved blood sugar, reduced cravings, and relief after years of struggling with their weight. But weight loss alone is not the full picture. And why does this matter? Research shows that women on these medications may eat significantly fewer calories, sometimes up to 16 to 39% fewer calories. And that matters because when food intake drops significantly, nutrition can drop too. Eating less can also mean less protein, fewer nutrients, lower energy intake, and poor recovery, especially in menopause. This is where our body is already changing, right? We know estrogen has left the building. We don't have that buffer of energy on board any longer. So nutrition is so important for you, for all of us. So let's come up with some strategies. What strategies work? First of all, putting protein first. That way, if you're not as hungry, getting protein in is super important. So getting that in first, because protein supports muscle, metabolism, blood sugar regulation, and recovery. The things, again, that the GLP-1 can counter. So we want to really bring that on board. And if protein intake drops too low, muscle loss risk increases. So we really want to keep protein on board. And what are the goals, right? We know somewhere between 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal. That's a good gauge. And then a simple place to start. That's just, even if you're looking at portioning out, you can certainly Google how much chicken is 25 to 35 grams. That can be super helpful using your tools in that way to make sure you're getting enough protein. And make sure it starts smaller and build in consistency first if it feels too overwhelming. So definitely it can be a challenge. So again, really working on protein first. The other issue women share with me is that meat ick that they experience. Many women on these medications notice changes in their taste as well as their appetite. When they taste or smell meat, they can have that aversion. And protein foods suddenly can feel heavy, unappetizing, and even nauseating. So some strategies to work on, that's where it's at, right? Let's have some tools, some strategies in place to work with your body, depending on if you're taking one of these medications. And so sometimes, a smoothie can be well tolerated. Make sure there's not a lot of sugar in that smoothie, right? We want to make sure There's protein, fat, and fiber in every meal. This is gonna help, again, that nutrient absorption that we need. Yogurt is great if you tolerate dairy, Greek yogurt. Otherwise, I love a coconut yogurt. Put in some big scoop of protein powder, mix it up, use it as a dip for apple, put in some chia seeds, and I love psyllium husks for some extra fiber, a lot of fiber in that one, and then some berries. That's a great protein breakfast or snack, but something that's filling and gives you the right amount of protein. Again, cottage cheese if you tolerate, or maybe tofu blended into soups. That can work really well. Bone broth is great. Or simply just choosing higher protein versions of food you already enjoy. Second strategy here, first one is protein first. Second one is nutrient density. So smaller appetite often means that certainly every bite matters, right? So really focusing on quality, what you're eating, what you're consuming. And this is where that nutrient density becomes super important. And, being sure you prioritize, like I said, that protein, fat, and fiber, colorful whole foods, and hydration. Don't forget about that, super important. The goal isn't perfection, but it's just building moods and meals, but building meals that really support your energy, your digestion, your hormones, your recovery, and muscle preservation, big time. That's so important, right? Muscle preservation, really working when you're on GLP-1, we've got to work on preserving muscle, because when you're losing weight, you not only are losing fat, but you certainly can lose a certain amount of muscle along with it. And that's what we need to preserve. Fiber and digestion, right? Really helpful for women on GLP-1s, because many women are already experiencing slower digestion during menopause, whether or not you're on these medications, and GLP-1s can compound that. So hydration, super important, and gradually increasing fiber can become really important and help with normal digestion. Your bowels are definitely going to, or most likely, move a little slower, right? That fullness thing, your stomach is emptying at a slower cadence. So really bringing in more fiber, like that yogurt meal that I talked about with chia and psyllium husk, not doing too much too soon, but enough, and then really hydrating with that. Hydration, low thirst, and lower intake is really a risk for dehydration. So really watch that. It can worsen fatigue, constipation, and recovery. So staying hydrated is super important. And it's super important even if you're obviously not on the medications. So the goal, that I really want to get across today is that it's not just to be smaller, but stronger and energized and resilient. That's really the goal. You want to feel strong and maintain muscle and support your metabolism and build long-term health is really where it's at, right? Not just withering away to be super skinny and frail. That is not what we're looking for. And habits matter. And whether you are considering a GLP, you're on it, or you want to come off it, habits is where it's at. Habits and consistency. Two things that, when I'm working with women, it's the hardest thing, and yet when we can build in that structure, personalized for you, it's a game changer. You don't even have to think about it. When it starts to work, we just rinse, repeat. And it can be so helpful. This is what we're looking for, is that long-term health, right? Outcomes that aren't just in the moment or in the next couple of weeks, but that we can take and live in the long run. And strength is built daily. It isn't just a 1 day, it isn't a 2-month or a 3-month program. It's a day in, day out, 1 day at a time. And that's how it works. So, this isn't about fear, right? And it's certainly not about shame, because there's no shame in taking these medications. They can benefit so many women that I work with. They really do. And they can also get you started on a healthy track. And then if you do want to come off of them, if you are one of those people that can, then we work on that structure that supports all the goodness that you've now created with habits and lifestyle shifts. Because really that works. It's just implementing and kind of mirroring what you've learned and what your body has learned through taking a GLP-1. It's really about helping women understand how to support their body through this phase of life, this amazing chapter of life. And gosh, real strength is, like I said, it's built daily, one day at a time. And it really is an inside job. It's not just about external appearance and how we look, although that matters. It matters to me, and I'm sure it matters to you, and that's okay. And it also matters how we treat our bodies and take care of our bodies and nurture our bodies at this stage in life. And so if this is something that you found helpful, I am offering a workshop coming up, and you will see that in the details below. And also those coming into the workshop, I have put together an ebook on this topic, GLP-1s and weight loss for women in menopause. It's focused on nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Again, whether you're taking a GLP-1, considering going on one, or considering going off of it. So I hope you find this helpful, and this is part 1 in the series, and you'll be seeing more. I believe the next one is on exercise and GLP-1 medication for weight loss in menopause. So I look forward to seeing you then, and I hope you found this helpful and informative, and please subscribe and follow me for more. Thanks.